If you are anything like me and have young kids or have just had your first baby or maybe your third, or maybe your kids are in school and this has been weighing on you for years, a lot of you are probably thinking, I need a will, but you may not understand why or what it involves. I want to talk to you a little bit about the considerations that you have to think about in estate planning when you have young children. First of all, a will obviously is very critical, and it's the first and most important document that people think about. The purpose of having a will is to, number one, appoint a guardian for your children if anything should happen to you and you weren't here to care for them. That's really important. It's the most critical thing you can do as a new or a young parent, because without having that document, the state or a judge would ultimately have some say into the decision about what happens to your children and would be the final decision maker. The outcome might not be what you want it to be. So it's critical that you make the decision now while you're able to about who would care for your children if you can't. The other thing that you want to consider in a will is what would happen to any money or any assets that you have, and how would they get to your children. If your children are minors when you pass, they can't receive money and hold it themselves. They don't yet have the capacity to make legal decisions or financial decisions. You want to avoid that money being held in a way that's difficult for them to access, or maybe isn't used in the way that you would have wanted it to be. So the other consideration you want to think about in doing a will is creating a testamentary trust or any form of a trust that will allow any money your children receive to be used in a way that you want it to be used, and for you to decide who gets to manage that money and make decisions about it. Those are the two most critical things that you can do in a will when you have young children. Other things that you might want to consider as a new or young parent are things like life insurance, disability insurance, and beneficiary designations. You may have life insurance, or you may have never thought about it. Maybe you got life insurance before you had children, or even before you were married, or when you were just young and had different priorities. You want to make sure that you have sufficient life insurance to provide for your children if you're not here to provide for them yourself. Whoever is caring for them, you want to make sure that they have the financial means to do so. So you either want to get life insurance or take the opportunity to review life insurance with a financial advisor or other professional to make sure that you have enough life insurance. The same thing goes for disability insurance. Even if you're not working, you want to make sure that if you become disabled, that there is enough money to replace whatever you can't do for your children anymore. So that's another consideration. You also want to take the opportunity to take a look at beneficiary designations on things like insurance policies and retirement accounts. If something were to happen to you, you want to make sure that the beneficiary designated is who you want the money to go to now that you have children. It could be a guardian, it could be the child, but it may be different than who you named 10 years ago when you started a job or started that retirement fund. So those are all things that you should take a look at and consider when you are a new or young parent. Of course, if you have any questions about that or need somebody to draft a will for you, we're here to help you. So please feel free to call.